All right, welcome everybody to the Massachusetts Real Estate Mastermind Podcast. I'm your host, Tom Caffarella, and I've got two very, very special guests on today, Mike McCann and Paul Chin, both actually out of Philadelphia. What's going on today, guys?
How you doing? I'm waiting for the storm.
Are you guys getting it too?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hi
Yeah,
everybody. I am Mike McCann, the real estate man.
absolutely. So we're
This
going
is
to be
Paul
talking.
Chin, a good friend.
Awesome. You guys are on the same team, right?
Yes. Yeah. Paul and I've been together 16 years now. Is that say more than 15?
It's about going on to 17 years now.
17 years.
Wow, you don't hear that often. That's a long time for two people to be working together on the same team. That's awesome. That's definitely an accomplishment in itself. And before we jumped on, Mike, you were talking about the fact that you've got almost 20 agents on your team?
Yeah, so I'm the team leader. I've been in the business since June of '86. Hired my first assistant in '89 and first buyer's agent in '96. But now we have 6 full-time administrative assistants, a part-time weekend person, and we have 18 agents on my team. Paul's wife's one of my agents. She's so much better looking than Paul, but we got to have fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So now
we're in downtown Philadelphia. We are literally across from Independence Hall, the birthplace of America. And did you know Boston is Philadelphia's sister city? I don't know if you know that.
I did know that. Yeah, absolutely.
Ben Franklin spent both. And we're a couple, about 3 blocks from the Liberty Bell. So we are in the downtown urban environment. We're not suburban agents. We're selling row houses, condominiums, things of that nature.
Cool. So building a team is such a buzzword today. It seems like everybody wants to do it. And a lot of people are unsure of kind of the first step, or a lot of people have tried it and failed at it. Talk about how you were able to get from being a solo agent up to 18 agents with 6 full-time admins.
Yeah, I'll give you a few puts and then I won't Paul to talk. But
yeah.
So even prior to me having a team in 1988, which is a lot of people weren't even born then. But,
I was 6.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I did 90 transactions myself without an assistant. And I started to take continuing education from outside of the marketplace. And nobody had assistants. No one had teams. But someone said to me in a training course at Temple Real Estate Institute, they said, if you had an assistant, if you don't have an assistant, you are an assistant.
Yep.
What I tell people is the first thing about building a team, I never built a team to say, I'm going to be number one. I built a team, or I built an assistant is the first part of a team. Mm-hmm. I got so busy so I could delegate the things for less money to someone and things that I didn't want to do. For example, dressing envelopes or doing on computer work or doing stuff like that. So you want to hire a key assistant. Any top agent needs a key assistant. Once you have a key assistant, then as your business grows, then you can getting too many leads and you can't work all your buyers and sellers. You bring someone on and you say, you know what, Paul, I'm getting too many buyers. You're going to be my buyer specialist. You're going to start working my buyers. And
so I've seen people try to do it the opposite way, where they hire the agent first. Why an admin before an agent?
Because people want to they come in, they want to build a team, and they hire a bunch of agents to get together. To be very candid, what I do is my agents have been with me. Paul's 15 years, of agent 20 years, assistants 20 years. I hire for life. My people make a very good living. But what I did was I built the foundation, and then I brought people in that supports that. And so Paul, I always say 1 and 1 is 3. Paul could do it by himself. I could do it by myself. But 1 and 1, we're not 2. 1 and 1, we're 3. And so when I bring an agent on, they get support, they get leads, they get good recognition. But if I brought a bunch of agents on, it would just be, we all want to be the leaders. And, anyway, to me, that's the best. I've been the top agent in the nation for Berkshire. We were Prudential before, since 2000. I've been either 1 or 2 in volume and commissions, whatever it is, GCI. So just on stages, we did 9 million in commission, and last year we did 785 transactions and 360 million. And
So 785 transactions amongst
795 transactions, yeah.
Amongst the 18 people?
That is correct, yes.
That's
yes.
phenomenal. So you're an agent, you're thinking that maybe you do need the admin support. When do you kind of know that you're ready, and how do you hire for that position?
And well, my hiring has changed dramatically differently. Yeah, initially my first assistants were, I know somebody, yeah, you okay, fine. Then my wife started to hire, through Craigslist and LinkedIn and all that, and she would review them. Now we actually pay a service, a hiring person who interviews, then we get to review the applications on YouTube, and then we decide who we're going to bring in. So now we use about $2,000. We use a professional service. My last two assistants are unbelievable off the charts.
And how does that work when you have somebody else do it?
They obtain the person, the people. They do interviews. So we could sit here and look at 10 interviews that she's selected.
Yep.
You could say, bring them in, and then we bring them in and we interview them. So it's worked great because she has preliminarily screened the people. We used to get 80 applications, bring it down to 40, bring it down to 20, bring it down to 10, stuff like that. So hiring well, and the key thing, most people are scared to invest in their business.
Yep.
I early on learned to invest in my business. 3 things to be a top agent. And I got to let Paul talk for a little bit, but he knew being with me, I'd be talking a lot. But 3 things. What has made I've been the top agent in Philadelphia. Philadelphia, 6th largest city in America, every year since 1988. Mm-hmm. And I don't say that to boast because I'm the same guy I was when I had nothing. But what I learned early on is to have the best reputation. I saw everybody cooperating. So I said, wow. So I wanted to have the best reputation in the marketplace. And then I continued my education by reading, by going to seminars. So I wanted to become the most knowledgeable person in the marketplace. Mm-hmm. And then I was already the most hardest working person in the marketplace. So cooperating, having a great reputation, as competitive as I am, you go walk and talk to any agent. They'll say, how's Mike McCann? They'll say, oh, Mike helped me with this. Oh, Mike's did this. So I help everyone. And that goodwill begets goodwill. And that's why it's consistently been up there. What was the question? So I rambled off on it.
So you talked a little bit about, hiring your first admin, and you talked about the fact that, sometimes you have a fear of paying that person.
Oh, that's what I want to say.
Yeah.
What I tell agents is put 3 months of salary aside and then hire someone and say, listen, this is I forget the legal word, but it's a month-to-month job in a sense, bottom load or whatever it's called. I forget. My wife will tell you. But and so 3 months aside and say, I have 3 months worth of pay. I'd love this to work out, but that way you're not stressing about paying that person. You put that money aside. That's what I did. And I was scared. And this was, and then within 3 weeks, I knew that it was the best thing that I ever did. The first week or 2 was bad, but we put checklists together, pending sale checklist, agreements to sale checklist, marketing checklist. So my assistant, while I'm out on the street running around, had checklists to work off of. And then that year I made, again, times were different. This is the 80s. I made an extra $40,000 after I paid that person that year, which was significantly more than what I had been making.
So,
and then I hired another assistant 2 years later. And then when I hired my first buyer specialist, there was no buyer specialist. That was 96. But I had myself and 2 assistants. And I had a ring of people that helped me, but they didn't work for me.
So with the 2 assistants, this is going back to 1996. With the 2 assistants, you were able to do everything else pretty much at that point?
What do you mean do everything else?
Well, the two assistants I'm sure were supporting you in an admin fashion. You were able to do all the sales piece of it, right?
Yeah, I've always done. Then that's what I like to do. I don't want to be sitting in the office. I don't want to be on the computer. I want to be meeting the clients, working. I don't work too many buyers anymore, just my investor buyers that are going to build. But I want to be out on the streets. I want to do 2 or 3 listing appointments a day. I want to work with the clients. So yes, so they type my agreements, they prepare my CMAs, they DocuSign for me, they do my marketing. We have systems, so I can just spend my time closing deals, dealing with the issues, dealing with the inspections, trying to get new ones.
Don't forget, this was back in the day. This is before the internet. So you really had to do everything by paper, fax, and running around. So there's no trend at that time. It was a big giant book. Am I correct?
Yeah, the computer. Let's not go back to the because these people will be like, "What are they talking about? No internet." Yeah, when I got on, there wasn't even a multiple. You didn't have nothing. So I'm just trying to talk about today. Today, that's what I would do. I would tell someone to hire their reserve money, hire a person, get any top CEO has an unbelievable assistant who really does everything for them. They're the front pitcher, but they make them look good. They systematize everything. And so I'm closing deals with a great support team.
Mm-hmm. And how do you know when you're hiring that it's the right person? So you mentioned that you have a kind of a staff, you have an outsourced system where they get people, but how do you know once you get to somebody that it's going to be a good fit on the admin side?
Once we bring them in, I think we've only fired 2 people in my career. We bring them in, and we have a family, so it's family first. So they have to have the good chemistry. An admin person needs to be a different brain than me. I'm a sales guy. I love people. I'm high energy. I'm ADD. I'm always moving. My administrative support staff are detailed. They have brains of engineers. They're organized. They're efficient. They format things. They make things look good. So it's a different brain set. We'll know right away. We did have one we brought in a couple years ago, and we knew within a month she wasn't working. So I'll hear it from my other agents, from my other assistants. Everybody is so nice in our office, but I'll hear it if they're not doing things.
Yeah. And are you big on using disc profiling for that, or do you use any sort of personality profile in order to?
I believe that person does do profiling. Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense. So you really, you hire 2 admin people. And this is, again, something that I've heard from the most successful people that have built teams. A lot of times we see people trying to build teams. They're just hiring agents. They don't necessarily even have a lot of leads, and they don't have support, and they're bringing them on. And it's almost like they're just building their own brokeraging away. So you had 2 admin before you actually took on your first agent. Now, you alluded to your first agent was a buyer's agent.
That is correct. I wanted them to work the buyer leads that I couldn't handle.
Okay, and up until that point, you were still working with buyers, right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so when you took on your first agent, did you give up all of your buyer work at that point, or how did you kind of transition into keeping them busy and, building their career?
Yeah, one of the things successful agents say, the buyers want me. I am so important. The bottom line is if I get a referral from someone and it's a past client or it was a client of mine, and I'll say, and that person returns the call, as long as they get a good, conscientious person. So Paul will say, hey, Joe, this is Paul Chen, buyer specialist from the Mike McCann team. Mike asked me to contact you. You're looking to buy a property in Society Hill. And then when I see that client who referred him, who contacted me at settlement, when Paul settled on, I said, Paul was great, Mike. I love Paul. Thank you so much. They don't care as long as they get a good person. So that's why when you hire a buyer specialist, they have to have your same character, your same work ethic, your same integrity, enthusiasm. Like, Paul works, like me, 7, 8 in the morning till midnight, you can catch him. So that's the key thing. But in the beginning, I didn't turn them all over because I was still doing it. But I just wanted to stop working weekends. So in '96, when I hired my buyer specialist, I said, I'm not meeting clients on weekends. I'm still going to make phone calls, but I'm not meeting clients. And he worked my open houses. He worked my buyers.
Now, Were you able to give that person really a full-time living in year one? Because I know
Oh,
some people
absolutely.
worry about that too.
I do always tell people the first year is very difficult. You have to have money in reserve. I actually put him on a draw, actually, which I don't do typically, but I
Mhm.
did. 40-year-old with 2, 3 children. Yeah, I've been making money. I saved my money, and I put him on a draw for a little bit. It worked out very well, but and he did good. So I always, just like with my clients, I under promise and over deliver. So I said, you know what, your first year you'll be lucky to make. I think back then I was like $35,000. And today I'll tell new agents, you'll be lucky to make $50,000 or $60,000 your first year.
Mhm.
But your second year, you can go up, but you will know within 6 months to a year. You need 6 months of reserve. Someone's going to pay your gas, feed you, house you, whatever the case is. And myself, I was in the restaurant business. I worked weddings, weekends, in the mornings, and until I transitioned for a year and a half into the real estate business.
Mhm.
Um, so
So your first agent was a buyer's agent. They kind of took that over for you. You were able to give them a living in year one.
yes,
It was able to get you to stop working the weekends. What was your next hire and when was it? Like in terms of the agents or admin?
yeah, about 99, about 2000, when the market was really picking up, I had a couple, I hired a couple people, and um, I think three or four people. And I like to hire, I have, today, even now, I have $25 million producers want to join my team. I don't need volume. That's not what I'm looking for. I like to bring people that are new, 6 months, a year into business, and grow them and make their life successful. And that's more rewarding to me bringing in a person who just does more numbers and all that. It's not really about the numbers. That's important. I have to make a good living. So I like to bring in newer people who I can raise in my image, who
Mhm.
who has a need to work. I only hire people who are their sole income producers or primary income producer, and who wants to succeed. Now, of my 18 agents, there's people that have had babies that have backed off. So, I'm not going to get rid of them. They're fantastic, but they're not hustling the way that they were 10 years ago for whatever reason. But
Why
when I'm
why primary income producers?
just, I want people that are motivated. I want people that I don't want someone that's, I'm not working this weekend, or I'm, at the spa, or whatever. Um, I don't, I to grow a successful team in real estate's the greatest business in the history of the world, especially today. Your income is unlimited. It's I couldn't we do better than doctors, lawyers, everybody, if you're very successful. Small percentage. And it's a great way. It gives you freedom. We can go away when we want. We control our own destiny.
Mhm.
That's what I always wanted. And it's still true today. But but the curse about real estate is, I was away in Puerto Rico at my son's wedding. I'm still checking my email. I'm still negotiating deals. Paul's going to a settlement for me, but I'm reviewing some stuff. So you always have to be on. But I don't mind it. I'll hang out for 2 hours, then I'll go sit on the beach for an hour and a half on my iPhone. But you have to be available. You can't be like, I'm taking off for a week. You got to be kidding me. So that's the curse.
Yep.
But the benefit is I can go anywhere.
See, I don't think it's a curse. I mean, I love real estate and,
Yeah.
I don't feel like I need to check out from it because I think it's like you mentioned, one of the best professions in the world. And we don't like, to me, I don't think we do anything hard. So that's the thing I always tell people. I'm like, there's nothing that we do that's difficult. There are people who are out there that go to work every single day and they have to really, really work. They're especially laborers and, people that are doing, really tough jobs. I mean, we don't do anything that's difficult. So if we're on vacation and we have to make a call, oh, wow. I mean, that's not really too much to complain about. So,
Exactly. But you're like me. But many of the millennials we hire are new people or older people, just aren't like that. So I only hire people that are 24/7, just like you and I.
yep, I think that makes perfect sense. So, so you
Let's ask
had,
Paul a question.
what was that?
I said, let's ask Paul a question.
Okay,
So
let's go.
Paul started out as a buyer's agent, but he also lists a lot of properties. Paul does a lot of investment also. We do a lot of investment on our marketplace.
Yep.
Paul could work for himself. His wife works on our team. He could have his own team, but he's been with me a long time. So let's see what the advantage is from his view as a buyer specialist and now a listing specialist.
All right, go for it.
So thanks, Mike. So as mentioned earlier, I was Mike's team in 1999. Before that, Mike was my agent. I was doing investment properties. So when he brought me on, or let's say I kind of hopped onto his team at that time, I kind of knew the business and kind of grew from there. Love his motivation. You can't beat Mike's motivation, and it's very contagious.
Yep.
Being an agent, when you getting back to your question about like first year being an agent, you got to be motivated. You got to be open-minded. You got to be able to be a sponge and learn what the other agents are doing in business. Like Mike, he has so much experience, and all you got to do is just listen, copy, watch him, and then you could grow from that point on as a person, as an agent. The one biggest thing that he mentioned is your reputation. Reputation in this business is key. You're always co-working with other agents and other companies, but it's your name that carries you. People come up to me and say, "Oh, you're Paul Chin. You're on the McCann team." And I never met this person in my life, and this could be a new agent.
Yep.
But another thing is you got to teach, whether they're on your team, on another company, you got to be able to teach so this way you can get the deal done. You teach them how to be a better agent, and it's easier to work with. And it's also easier for your clients that you're representing. So that's I mainly learned from Mike is got to be yourself, be honest.
Yep.
And that's going to be representing how you are, and that's how you're going to grow your business.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big proponent myself of teams. So we've got a 225 person real estate brokerage here, and anytime a new person comes on, I'm like, you should join a team. I mean, I don't see many people succeed coming in and kind of doing their own thing. I think it's a no-brainer, almost to the point where I think it should be a requirement, because you've got people who are getting licensed, they're joining big brokerages, they don't really get a lot of guidance and support, and they're out running around trying to sell people's most valuable asset, and they can't make a living at it. So I think for most people, it just makes a lot of sense in order to do it. So you went so you got to 8 to 10, beginning of 2000, and then so how have things kind of gone since then? Like, how has your team grown? What does it look like now, and all that good stuff?
It's slow and steady, and in my career, the market's been up and down 3 times.
How much longer do we have left right now?
I say right now we're at the top of the crest.
We're at the top. How much longer before we start to tip?
I'm hoping it's just going to be a little softy, you know what I mean? Not a collapsey.
So you've been in it for a while. What's your intuition on that?
It was fun. When I got in June of 86, some of my friends started to buy in 85 because interest rates went down from 21% down to 12%. So the mid 80s, the market started to boom. I got in 86, bought property. Values were going up 20% a year. Tax Reform Act of 86 came into effect in 89. The market collapsed. From 90 to 97, values in Boston, New York, California, Philadelphia were down 20, 30, 40%, way worse than 08. It took about 8 years to recover. Then it started to pick back up in 98, 99, 2000. 9/11 came. 2000, the dot-com bust came in 2000. The market dropped 3 months, goes back up. 9/11 drops 3 months, goes back up. Then we ran till 08. Then it slowed down and until about 13, started to pick back up. 14, 15, 16, 17. So I think we're about here. You'll see rates going up. I'm hoping a soft landing, barring anything major. But the market does change, and it cleans out all the new people that came in easy. It cleans out the bad investors or bad builders.
So the thing that I think is a little bit different from this time versus last time is back in 03, 04, 05, 06, I feel like the new people could just come in and make a ton of money. I mean, do you still feel like that's the case? I don't feel like I see that quite as much.
Yeah, absolutely. It's to me, absolutely. I still see that, and that's so much easier. I mean,
well, the prices are higher now.
Yes.
So it's easier for them to make the salary that people were making back then. because the
Yep.
pricing is higher. So you could sell 5 or 6 nice price properties and make a good amount. But to make a really exceptional amount, you still got to work.
Yes, yes. But you can come in. It's still pretty easy to make a very good loan, and especially if you're committed, you
Mhm.
can. I see new agents doing very, very well. It cracks me up because in '88 I did 90 transactions. It was 3.5 million in business. I do that in one day now, and I
Yep.
work 14-hour days. And now I see people coming in their second year, they're making $150,000 or whatever. It's like, wow. But and it can go up from there. It's a great opportunity. I'm hoping it softens. But bottom line is, when the market goes down, a good agent, as long as you saved your money, you've not stretched yourself, will grow because every time the market went down, my business went up because everyone left. There was more reason to need a hardworking, good agent. So yes, my volume went down in '08. I mean, I did less. I was doing around 600 the year before, and I think we dropped to 475. It went down. I still did fantastic, but I was getting more and more properties because other agents were leaving the business. So good, bad, or indifferent, a top agent, the internet's not taking my business away. Any of these companies, they're not taking my business away. Real estate's a personal business.
Mhm.
There might be a segment of the market that, Zillow does online or whatever these new trends are, or some computer guru. But residential real estate's a personal business, will not go away. One of the things I always tell my agents is, you make money selling real estate, you build wealth owning real estate. And you need to pick up 1 or 2 properties a year, not to flip it, to hold it.
Mhm.
And that is key. I could have acquired 10 years ago from the stuff I bought, 89, 90, 91. I was buying 1 or 2 properties a year. So that's something someone needs to do also.
Yeah,
Paul,
absolutely.
that too.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. I mean, especially like in the Boston market, everybody that I grew up with, I grew up in kind of a poor area, and none of our parents had money. And then 8, 9, 10 years old, we were none of us had anything. 10 years later, every single one of my friends' parents that had money at that point had all bought real estate. They all own multifamilies in the greater Boston area. And a lot of them are millionaires today or multimillionaires today, just because, not even that they bought a ton of units. It's not like they doubled down or anything like that. They just picked up some good units along the way, like you said, 1 or 2 buildings a year, and now they're financially free. So it's kind of crazy how powerful that is.
Especially over time. Paul is from Boston too.
Born and raised.
He was
What
born and
part?
raised.
What part?
I was born in Cambridge, but I lived in right outside Chinatown near the Herald.
All right, good deal. So Cambridge, so we've got a 3-family condo conversion going on right now on Madison Ave. I don't know how familiar you are with the streets, but we don't do a ton in Cambridge. Cambridge is insane right now. I don't know if you've looked at any of the prices recently there, but it's just out of control. A 3-family there, we're looking at 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5 million, sometimes even higher. So everybody wants to live in the city now, right? For some reason.
That's where we are.
I
Yeah.
used to live right on Harrison Avenue, right across from the Boston Herald.
Okay.
Across the bridge from the Boston Herald. Now, my dad, this back in the day, I told Mike about the story, had an opportunity to buy a quadplex right on Tremont Street.
Oh man.
For 80,
How much?
80,000 back
What
in
year?
the day. It was back in 1986, 87.
Wow. So that's not even, I mean, that's a good amount of time ago, but it's not, I mean, it's
Not that
30,
old.
yeah, it's 30 years ago. I
And
mean,
check this out. He didn't buy it because there was a big foundation crack on the wall. So he didn't buy it. The guy who bought it sold it in less than a year for 600,000. So after that, learning that firsthand from my dad, I always tell a lot of my friends, I'm like, you got to buy. Because I grew up in Section 8 housing.
Mhm.
Real estate is a huge, wealth making instrument.
yeah.
We grew up on the edge. I grew up, never had any money, and
Yep.
that's my work ethic, and that's why I have gratitude every day. And I never became a pompous bozo because I'm very wealthy now. I'm still the same guy that I was on the streets at 14 years old. I'm still the same guy.
Yeah.
Yet I sell multi-million dollars. I work with millionaires. I work with electricians. Like I still, that's one thing about our market. We sell properties from 150 to 3 million. Our average is about $500,000. We sell a lot of millennials, a lot of young people, single females, young couples, because we're a downtown urban environment.
Makes sense. So what would you tell to people, in year one? Like what advice would you give them to kind of get from point A to point B? Because year one is always the hardest.
I'm going to let Paul talk. I'm going to take off.
Yes, I know you needed to run. So Mike, I want to thank you for jumping on. And I know you've got a busy day, and we'll continue this with Paul.
I'm going to give you 3 or 4 things. You can go on my Facebook if you ever want. But
I thought you said you were leaving. Now you're sticking around?
I'm going to give you 3 or 4 things, though. Yeah, I always say, do you ever hear of Nike?
Yes,
just do it. And never give up. The harder you work, the luckier you get.
Yep.
Can't means won't. I can't do that. No, you won't do that. And if he can do it, I can do it. So believe in yourself. Work hard, and it's the greatest business.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
My brother from Boston.
Thank you.
Paul.
So you guys have now, do you have new team members coming on like every so often? How often do you guys bring in a new team member?
Very rarely. So
okay.
I would say this last couple of years is when we brought in the most newest members. There's like 3 newest members in the last 4 newest members in the last 2 years.
So Mike gave us some of the motivational stuff. What are kind of the nuts and bolts for somebody that's going to join your team and they say, Paul, hey, I want to get to where you're going. What should I do in year one? And what does that look like?
Year one, volunteer for as much stuff as possible. Open houses, brokers tours, brokers luncheon, whatever anybody offers that's free, go to it. If it's a seminar, take it. Education is key. Education. Save your money, build up that money because it's going to come in handy to buy eventually an initial investment property if they don't have one already.
Yep. And so what do you guys tell people, again, realistic in year one? Like what if somebody comes onto your team, is the goal to hit, 10 sales, 20 sales, 40 sales, or do you even have something that's mapped out kind of like that?
My recommendation is actually aim for at the beginning, 1 or 2 transactions a month.
Okay.
Sale or rental.
Yeah.
If you rent out a property or apartment, a house or whatever, aim for something like that. You may not get the sale immediately, but at least you could do a rental. And it helps you train yourself in dealing and talking to people and interacting with people. That's the most important thing because everybody is different when you're talking to them. So the most important thing is get yourself out, get your name out.
Yeah.
That's what I recommend.
Any recommendations as to working buyers versus sellers or going after both, or what's your take for that?
You gotta balance yourself. You gotta really balance yourself. Aim for sellers, aim for buyers. Sellers take a little bit longer time because it takes some time to sell a property. Buyers, it will help you create how to build a relationship when you're out and about and figure out how people are and what they're looking for. So
now, do you guys do? I know you're talking about sphere of influence, getting yourself out there, and all that good stuff. Do you guys recommend buying leads? Do you think you need to, and what would you recommend?
You got to be careful with that with buying leads because it becomes really expensive.
Yes.
Really quick. Okay. Trulia, Zillow. You got to be careful with them also because they're generating a lot of the information that us as realtors are already putting into the MLS system, and you're buying the stuff back again. But there's a lot of free stuff online that new agents can do. Like you can put your advertisement on Trulia and Zillow. That's free. You don't have to buy a membership or whatever. So there's stuff out there that can be done free for new agents. But another thing that they could do is alumni association, alumni clubs from college or grad school or fraternities, sororities, or even your past employment histories. Talk to friends or workers, co-workers, or whatever. Get your name out there, and they could refer you business also. So I get a lot of referrals from my old classmates and fraternity brothers from Temple University. So they pass me a lot of business that way too.
So one last thing before we wrap up, I've got to ask, you have 8 admins on your team, 8 admins over 18 people. Do they have specialized functions, or are they working individually with people on your team? How does that work?
Every admin has a specific duty, or let's say responsibility, that they're doing. A couple of admins can be doing inputting new listings into the system. Some are doing closings, settlements, the agreement of sales. A couple are doing marketing for us and creating flyers, fact sheets, and all that stuff. So everybody has their responsibility on the team on what they're doing.
Makes sense. So any kind of final, last words in terms of advice, just being in real estate over the course of the long haul?
If you're on a team, number one, it's great to be on a team. And if you're on a team, it's a family. Number one, it's a family, and everybody does their share. For us, it's like a production line.
Yes.
Things come in, things go out. So it's a big family. Everybody knows what they're doing. In real estate is you got to put the nose to the grind, be honest, be yourself, go out there and just pound it out, and just be able to work with other agents. Don't have a chip on the shoulder, because that's the biggest downfall is the chip, and you're going to be that biggest downfall for yourself.
I love it. I love it. All right, Paul. Well, I want to thank you for jumping on today, and I know our guests got a lot of value out of it. Paul from the Mike McCann team over in Philadelphia, you guys did what, $795 last year's transactions? $795. That's unbelievable. Over 18 people. So again, I want to thank you for coming on, and I'll see everybody next week. This is Tom Caffarella from the Massachusetts Real Estate Agent Mastermind Podcast. Thanks again for joining.
Thank you. See you in Boston.
Thank you.